Yes, people, what's good? So, I've just played our matches for ESL not too long ago, so we got top 8, so I'm pretty chuffed about that. But what I'm here to talk about now is the progress and the future of Dissidia NT, along with the community itself. So, with Square Enix, they had this sort of idea where it's like, okay, we want this game to be esports, but because it's not something that they kind of delved into, where Capcom's got Capcom Cup or Riot has like League Championship Series, so they're kind of like not really familiar with this sort of format. So the way that it's kind of going at the moment is it was either going to go two ways, where the community would do something like make their own tournaments, leagues, ladders, events, etc., to the point where we can pull Square Enix along, and then the commercial side of things where Square Enix would do their own sort of event and the community would just have to work with it, kind of like how Capcom does Capcom Cup. So with the community side of things, we are seeing like everyone being really active. Like we've seen Lord Chow do online events every Friday. We've seen Osti always have something on his calendar. Like Osti's Twitter has a calendar of like every single event that's going on for the month or for the following week or so. So just check on his Twitter, he always has something going on. Saying that as well, he does do his own online events, so shout outs to him. Nero's done a Celestial Cup not long ago, so shout outs to Nero. Also with the EU League, like we have our own league in the EU, so we're halfway through Season 1, and we might do Season 2 depending on how many people join. But if that's not the case, then we're still going to be doing online events. We just had God's Garden not long ago, so we went against, it was shuffle teams with EU and shuffle teams with Novisha. So Novisha's actually the Dissidia community that was founded by Final Fantasy Peasant. So that was a really cool, interesting, that was like a really interesting tournament to watch. So on Square side of things, they have, like the commercial side, they have gone with ESL to do monthly go fours. So the way that it's structured, this is the thing that I've partaken in today, where you play your matches, if you win you get money, but it does it in like a points base. So the top certain teams with the highest amount of points go towards like a streamed top 8, I think. And it's actually live commentary. So one thing that I found really interesting about this was that ESL actually managed to reach out to Bumblebee Cody, which is a EU League commentator. So he commentates the matches for one of the EU League lobbies, sorry. So seeing that ESL reached out to him was pretty cool. And what also I found interesting is that we saw Ketchup and Mustard. So these two are main faces within the fighting game community, like they're really high profile players. And they're known for their craft within Mortal Kombat and Injustice. So like, fast forward, like go all the way back to like SVB, where Mustard actually won that for Mortal Kombat 9, all the way up until recently, where Ketchup was a finalist for Mortal Kombat 10 at EVO. So their results have been constantly surging. So I'm really happy to kind of see not only them, but I've seen a lot of familiar faces as well in the fighting game community jumping on our game and supporting our game, so a huge shout out to all of you. Another person that I want to mention as well, Rare Kana. So Rare Kana, sorry, is the founder of NGI Events. So this is the main anime scene in the United Kingdom. So like Sakura Fest, they do Revo as well. They've done I think it's Celestial Heat. I forgot what it's called, sorry. But yeah, they've done like a whole heap of anime events around the UK. And then on top of that as well, Rare Khan himself is like a huge Gundam virtual on head. So to kind of see him not only partake in our game, but support the community is like no stranger whatsoever. So huge shout out to him. Another person is that I want to mention is Joesephyrs. So Square Enix have their own Final Fantasy trading card game. And if anyone who has seen the E3 presentation for Square Enix, Joe was actually on there like with one of his tutorials on how to play the trading card game. But where he falls into this is that he does content for Dissidia also, and he's even done a guide for Kuja. But I do keep it in touch with him regularly as well, and he's helping us support the scene. So shout outs to Joe as well. And the last person that I want to shout out is the Square Enix community manager, Dan. So this guy is such a huge legend in our community. Like as a community, we'll just go to Dan and be like, oh Dan, like we got this coming up, can you do something about it? And he'll be like, yeah, sure. And then he'll promote it on his Twitter and on the Final Fantasy Twitter as well. So he's kind of keeping the community visible at the moment with what we're doing, because I think one of the problems that we have a community lack is visibility itself. Like people don't know who to go to, people don't know high profile players to go to, people don't know where the tournaments are. So he's doing a huge thing at the moment, trying to keep us visible. So huge shout out to Dan as well. So that's pretty much the first half. So I'm going to go into the second half of things. So for the second half of things, I'm going to mention potential LAN events. So I kind of want to touch on Wednesday night fights because it was something that I was really interested to go to, and a lot of people knew that I was going to go there, but I sadly didn't. So one of the issues that I had was being at E3, I was more focused on being there at the moment than actual Wednesday night fights itself. So I was constantly lurking around for the rules and the sign-ups and stuff, and they didn't announce the rules or the sign-ups until like 2 days before the event, or 1 day before the event. I think it was on a Monday that I found out, like Monday night. One of the things that they announced was that it was a bring your own console event. So I didn't really have my console, so I didn't bring it with me all the way to Los Angeles. The last thing that I would want to do is to travel all the way from downtown LA to Anaheim for them to turn around and say, no, you can't until you don't have a console, sorry. And then it will just be a waste of money. So I'm really sad about that, but I can understand why, because everyone's console has like save data linked to their accounts. You would have all your EXs, all your HPs and stuff all linked to your save data. It's not the actual account. Wait, sorry, if you downloaded your PSN to another console and it didn't have your save data, you wouldn't have your HPs or your EXs unlocked, so you'd have to work for that all over again. The good news out of this is that we have now finally got an event mode, which is something that me, Raycon and Gundam have been talking about for ages, since like the first Celestial Dogfights, was that the game needed a spectator mode and it needed an event mode for it to be tournament viable. So the way that event mode is, in Japanese arcades, the machines get put on free play and everything is unlocked. With Dissidia it's a bit different because there's 6 arcade machines, they link it all together via event mode and it's linked to LAN, so they all connect to each other. So if you watch the Square Enix streams, that's how they normally do it. They do it through event mode and they have like a debugged version of it with the latest update demonstrating the new stuff. So the way that it works with the console version, like me and Rare Kana tested this on one of the last EU League match, and it worked fine. So basically you have all the EXs unlocked, you have all of the HP moves unlocked, and it uses that background for God Struggle for whatever reason, but it works fine. So you don't get any sort of gil or any sort of EXP from the matches, but everything is unlocked, which I think is really good for a tournament setting. And then on top of that as well, you can change your player names as well, which is what they added to the update. So I think that's really amazing that they are listening to the fans and they are listening to TOs. If they want this game to survive as a competitive game, they need to give us these sort of formats, which is what I'm really grateful for. Now, the last thing that I do want to mention on this part is that Jebailey has posted on Twitter about the potential lineup for CEO Taku in September. So there's CEO and then there's CEO Taku, which is like the Weeby Japanese games. So a lot of the community have decided to be like, look, we want NT, we'll show you NT's a good game and we'll run it ourselves if we need be. Now, one of the issues that I can see with this is that they'll pull out that setup nonsense out of their arse and be like, well, it requires 6 PS4s for one setup, where you can easily run one tournament with those 6 consoles. And that's completely understandable, but I don't know if they're going to make it bring your own console as well, so hopefully they don't, because I really don't want to bring my console all the way to Daytona. That's a try. And then what I found really amazing about this is that Final Fantasy has our back on Twitter. Like, if I'll link the tweet below, and they even posted Dissidia on Jebailey's Twitter, so they could probably have it there. And Jebailey's responded in a way where it's like, okay, I'm going to need to talk to you guys about how this is structured, and hopefully we might see a lineup. So everyone's kind of riding on the moment for next week for him to announce, like, do we get it, do we not get it? So if it does go through, this is going to be the first major LAN event we get for NT, and it's going to be a huge, like, it's our foot through the door with this whole thing, because everyone's moaning, oh, this game's dying, like, you know, there isn't, so Square doesn't care about this game, blah, blah, blah. Like, they do care. Like, it's taken a while for them to kind of get their foot through the door, but we as a community, we're doing what we can to try and support their game, and they've got our back on this. As long as, like, we can show them, yeah, like, we'll promote this game and we'll push this game forward, they will work with us to do it. Which is the last thing that I want to talk about is Square Enix has done a support survey. So I urge everyone to fill out this survey, be truthfully honest about it, and don't be like me where it's like, oh, I want a Secret of Evermore remake, because we're probably not going to get that anytime soon. Like, for Dissidia players, just focus on Dissidia stuff. Like, we've got an event mode, we've got a spectator mode. Like, one of the things that I asked on the survey was God Struggle, because we are missing a lot of cosmetics and a lot of stuff that the Japanese arcade has. And then on top of that, the Japanese arcade version is struggling to stay alive at the moment because of NT. So one of the things that Joesephyrs mentioned to me is like when you spread it too thin, So even though we got the game worldwide, like the arcade's not doing so much, so they're doing all sorts of like promotions and events to try and keep the game alive over there. But realistically, I think what they should do is at least give us some sort of events to get exclusives that's in God Struggle, because we don't all have like Japanese copies of the games. We all don't have Neshka cards. Not everyone's like me where they can turn around and be like, oh, you know, let me pull out some money out my arse and fly off to Japan to play like the game for like 3 weeks. Like, not everyone has that sort of entitlement. Not everyone has that sort of luxury. Like, times are pretty tough. Alright guys, so I just want to close this off by giving a huge shout out to the EU community, because I am not really active that much as a player. I'm more focused on behind the scenes. We're just trying to build our community, get more people in. So I do want to become more active as a player along with our community as well. If Jebailey does announce anything for CEO Taku, I want to try and go over there and just show my face and be like a sort of ambassador for us to see, like, look, the EU is willing to travel to try and go to these events. Like, you know, I'm also looking to go into, if CEO Taku doesn't happen for NT, I might look to go to Japan as well and just have like a huge level up session with some of the Japs that are over there as well. So yeah, this is Jamstar signing off. Take care, everyone.